Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and baseball season is officially arrived here in the virtual world. MLB the Show 21 is out, and man, it's been kind of a longer wait this year, but I think it could be worth it here because they did add a few features in this year's game, especially on Next Gen. And I definitely am excited about this season and this series we have coming up in MLB the Show with the Rockies. We are doing the Rockies. It's no surprise there. But I just want to give my initial impressions of the game so far. I played it for, I'd say maybe like a half a day or so. Just the only, it's only been out, what, 24 hours now, just about, a little bit more than that, maybe like 36 hours. And I want to give my initial impressions of this game and just go over some of the, features that we see in this game. And I think that this game has a lot of potential, especially building off of what they put in this year's edition. So here's what you get at the main menu. It looks a lot different. Before it was kind of like panels. You had to go left or right. Now they kind of have these little icons here, these buttons. Road to the Show, Diamond Dynasty, March to October, and Franchise are the first things you're going to see right away. Then at the top right, you have these drop down icons, and you can see the Stadium Creator is now up here. We're in the Create icon. And then settings, you have your basic settings as well. And then when you scroll down, you'll see everything else. You see Play Now with Exhibition with the live rosters, Online, and then Postseason, Custom Leagues. But then you also have Custom Practice now, a new mode that they did add. And I really like this addition. You do get the ability to practice scenarios, as we'll see right here. And we'll play with the Brewers and the Pirates. They're going up against them today in a 3-game set. And just looking at what you can do here, you can practice pitching, practice offense, or practice team situations. So something like this where you have runners on first or runners on second and third or something like that. And you can kind of do what you want here. Or you can just practice, a little batting practice or just pitching overall. And that's kind of helpful because, if you're, say, for example, trying out a new difficulty, because I will be playing on Legend this year, I actually use this quite a bit to start it out just to see, how different hitting is and how different pitching is this year. And I'll say this, if you play on Legend, hitting is a little more difficult this year. I'd say, they did change, I just like hitting in general. I think just the way the ball comes off the bat now with timing and everything, I think they changed that around a little bit. And it's a little tougher. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm sure after playing it for a little bit, people will get the hang of it. Because I am going to be playing Zone this year, and especially since I'm playing Legend, I do want to kind of have that challenge as well. And then you can just see here, this is like a team practice here where I set up a scenario, 3-2 count and 2 outs, bases loaded with Christian Yelich at the plate. He hits a home run right there to center field, and that was perfect timing. You can see the feedback on the left there. That was perfect. And then next at bat, we hit a grounder. So I really like this game mode. I think this is good practice for, anybody that's getting used to the show too, or anybody that just wants to practice a little bit with their scenarios just going forward. But one thing I do wish they did do with this is that they put it in franchise so that you can practice these scenarios with maybe your minor league teams or even your current MLB roster. That would be something that would be really, really special. Maybe they'll add that in the future. So then there's Stadium Creator, the biggest feature they've had this year by far. I don't think anything else they put in this game is touching this. And I just got to say, I'm blown away by how great this is. I mean, I spent a few hours when I first opened the box, the virtual box that is, getting into this game, just putting together a couple of stadiums. Here's one of the stadiums that I downloaded from the vault, and then I just did a little bit of modifications too, but it was beautiful right out of the box. Somebody did a great job here. And this is what you can do. I mean, you can just customize everything in your stadium. Not every customizable stadium you can use in Diamond Dynasty, but if you do the dimensions right and everything like that, you can, customize a stadium that you can play in that game mode. But it's endless. You can build pretty much your own city around your stadium, and it's pretty fun. And to be honest, you can get lost in this, doing this for hours, and really getting the hang of this is a little bit of a learning curve, but once you do, it's pretty easy. Just moving stuff around. You can just see I put a big restaurant there in the outfield, and this is actually very, very cool. It's an addition that really is welcomed here this season and this year, because I think this game just needed something to set it apart, to make it more immersive, and I think that Stadium Creator at least holds us off until next year. But I think it's a pretty good start. So now let's hop into franchise. Let's just sim a season here, and just to see how, you know, things shape out just in one season sim. No customizations, no nothing like that, default rosters. So we will see how that looks here in this video. And here is where you can add in your stadiums, your custom stadiums, which is pretty cool. You can substitute them for any minor league team in the game or any major league team in the game. And you can even put major leaguers at the minor league fields. That's pretty cool, to be honest with you. I like that feature. I'm glad that they did that. Like I said, I just wish they would have put scenario mode also in franchise. That would have been pretty cool. Maybe you can. I don't think you can though, but I haven't found it. But it's pretty cool that you can customize every park. I mean, you can put somebody in an old stadium if you really wanted to. You can go that route, and just the possibilities are limited though. 30 max stadiums that you can have and customize. I do wonder if you do substitute 30, if you can just like add a new 30 and just add them into your franchise as you create them. I've never tried it, so one of you guys might do it. So let me know if you guys do. So one thing they did add this year is depth charts. You know, it's a good feature, but it's not a groundbreaking feature. I think this is something that maybe they should have had in previous games, and they kind of sold it as the big feature this year. But to me, it's not a huge feature. It's nice to see. You can see how your guys project. The one thing that's missing though is that you cannot see other teams' depth charts. So for example, if you want to trade for a prospect and you want to see how that prospect will shape out in another organization, you could not do that. You had to either control every single team and do it that way, and that way you'll be able to see it, or you won't be able to do it at all, which is kind of a bummer. It's kind of, you know, defeating the purpose of seeing like how every team is going to look. I tried to scroll through the teams right there, which you usually use L2 and R2, but couldn't do it there. I do like the new calendar view because you can see wins and losses pretty clearly. The green win, I just like the new UI here. And then we get our first trade of the season, at least the first big one, as Uriel goes to the Cardinals. So that is a very, very interesting trade here, as you know, the Cardinals continue. It must be fun to be a Cardinals fan because they're always competing no matter what. That's what you kind of dream about being a fan of. I mean, you want a team that's going to really compete every single year and do the best. The Cardinals always do it year in and year out. Now, so let's just look at All-Star voting. We're at the All-Star break now. We simmed through about half the season here, and you can just see all of the All-Stars, as George Springer is the leader in center field in the AL, Jorge Soler in right field. Starting pitching, Walker Buehler is there. He is 12-0 in this sim. Clayton Kershaw is 8-4. Trevor Bauer is 11-4. So it looks like the Dodgers will dominate once again. And one thing I noticed here with just a lot of the stats and a lot of the All-Star votings is that the Padres and the Dodgers pretty much dominate the voting. And that's just how it's going to be probably for the next few years at least. I think those two teams just have the star power. I'm wondering how that division will play out, but I'm guessing that the Dodgers will just continue to win. I'm not sure the Padres will be everything people expect them to be, but you never know. We'll see how this season goes. Looking at the NL here, Dominic Smith is the leader in left field here in this sim, beating out Juan Soto of all people. I'm surprised to see that. And then Ronald Acuna is going to be number one in center field probably for the next freaking 10-15 years. He'll be there as the number one All-Star vote getter. Now, another big trade after we get to the trade deadline right at July 31st. How about Ramon Laureano? He's going over to the Padres. Now, this is an interesting trade. Now, they did hype up that they revamped trade logic here in franchise, and here we kind of see it. Now, CJ Abrams is one of their top prospects in the organization, the Padres that is. He goes over to the Athletics, and this was a good trade for the Athletics because now they have a guy who's going to be their future star. He is a potential, 72 overall. He's a lefty who throws right, so he is he's probably everything that you would want in kind of a franchise player in the future. And he's also the number 6 prospect in baseball. So that just shows you kind of what the trade logic did this year. And let's just see why the Padres made this trade. Now, Trent Grisham, he is very, very good, to be honest. 24 years old, 82 overall, A potential. But this year, just not getting it done, hitting .219. So I actually like this trade. It's an upgrade. They do trade away one of their top prospects. But why not go for it all? They trade for Liriano. I think it's a good trade. He's a little bit better than Grisham and 2 years older, though. But still, a good trade to at least get them to compete right now. So I kind of like it. This is maybe one of the things that, the trade logic really did enhance here, that rebuilding teams will actually rebuild and trade for prospects that will potentially be their franchise guys, years down the road. So let's look at other trades at the trade deadline. I'm not going to go through every single detail of this season just because I don't want to actually spoil what will happen in my franchise. I don't know if, storylines will be the same, but it could be similar, and I don't want to spoil that for my franchise at all. You can just see the trades around the league here right before the deadline. A couple of decent ones there. As now we sim to the end of the season. You can see the Dodgers do take the NL West over the Padres, but the Padres do still make the playoffs. Then in the AL, the Angels steal the wild card spot, the top wild card spot. They get 90 wins on the season. Astros, they win 110 games. I don't know if they're going to win that many in real life, but 110, that is just insane. Yankees win over 100 games. They win their division as well. And then just looking at the other divisions, the Cubs do take their division. And I want to see what the Dodgers and Padres will do in the playoffs. So they actually do face each other in the NLDS after the Padres actually win in the wild card, and they win 3-1 over the Dodgers. But then the Mets end up beating the Padres and going on to win the World Series over the Twins. And just looking at the Twins, they went 5 games in the ALDS, 7 games in the ALCS, and 7 games in the World Series. But it wasn't enough. They lost. So they went the distance in every single series. But the Mets end up winning the World Series here in this sim. Now, J.D. Davis did lead the NL in average, so he hit .315, 2 points ahead of Ronald Acuna. Avisail Garcia and Christian Yelich both hit .312. How did the Brewers not make the playoffs? I think they're a team to watch out for in real life. Not because I'm a Brewers fan, but I genuinely think they're just a good team. They have good depth. Not sure if they're going to win the World Series, but they are a very good team. Watch out for them this year. Dominic Smith in the NL leads them in home runs. And just looking at him, he hit 45. A huge leap from last season and the year before that. His career high before that was only 11. So interesting there. Pete Alonso, I'm not surprised that he's second, though, because he had that 53 home run season a couple of years ago. Hit 44 this season, and he is second. So the Mets have 2 of the biggest bombers in the league, and they won the World Series because of it. Now, Ronald Acuna led the NL in RBIs. No surprise there. Tim LeCastro had 45 stolen bases. Pretty good. But how about Tommy Pham? He was top 3 in stolen bases. He had his career high 32 stolen bases. Only got caught stealing 3 times. Man, that is crazy that Tommy Pham is that high in stolen bases. And then looking at the rest of the stats here, Christian Yelich led the league in walks. And he also led in slugging and OPS. So he was a very good player for the Brewers this season. But how about Walker Buehler? 20-0. 20-0 for Walker Buehler. If that happened, they would definitely win the World Series, seeing that they already have Kershaw and now Bauer. I mean, you add all 3 of those guys, and then one of the guys goes 20-0. I mean, that is insane. Clayton Kershaw leads the league in whip, .89, and Bauer was .96. And then look who's 4th, Walker Buehler. I mean, how did they not win the World Series? They should have defeated the Padres in that NLDS matchup. Then in the AL, how about Yordan Alvarez? Hit .339. He actually wins the batting title in the AL over Arias. And then Bogarts finishes 3rd. Mike Trout finishes 4th. Mike Trout's back over 300. He's had a couple of seasons where he's hit under 300. and now he's back over. He does lead the AL in OPS as well. And now we get to the awards. Yordan Alvarez, after hitting 50 plus home runs and hitting over 300, he wins MVP in the NL, or in the AL, I should say. And then looking at, the rest of the awards here, Kenley Jansen wins reliever of the year. It looks like rookie of the year, no Akil Baddoo. I think the reason why is because this game actually rated Akil Baddoo pretty low. I think he was at like 66 when this season started, and I don't think he was even at the MLB level the whole season. Going into my series, I will actually boost that. I will make Akil Baddoo a little better, probably a lot better, to be honest with you. He won't be in the 80s, obviously, but he'll be in the 70s. He's still got 8 potential. And then looking at the Gold Glovers here, Acuna wins it in center field for the NL, and Pete Alonso wins it as well as a Silver Slugger. And then Acuna once again wins Silver Slugger. So he won pretty much everything that you can win here except a World Series, I guess. Jonathan Villar does win the World Series MVP. He hit 375 in the playoffs. And yeah, pretty good season here. I'm not sure the Mets will win it all, but they're a decent team. I think they could do some damage. I think the Dodgers will repeat if I had to guess. That's just my guess, though. Now, looking back at that CJ Abrams trade, I just wanted to see the minor league stats, because when he was traded, he was in the single A, and now he moved up to triple A, but the triple A stats are empty. So I think that kind of shows that they did add that as a feature in franchise where you can see minor league stats, but it looks like they do not stick. How about this in the offseason, though? I simmed through the offseason because I didn't want to spoil any, spoilers there. And it looks like Trevor Story got traded for Eloy Jimenez. What a trade that is. I don't remember the last time I've seen 2 superstars get traded in the MLB for each other. And then how about JD Martinez getting traded for Jose Abreu? That's an interesting trade. Trade for a guy that's older and pretty much, not the same player, but I would take JD Martinez over Abreu. And then looking at the minor league stats, I want to confirm that those stats did not roll over, and they did not. So that is kind of a bummer there. I wish that minor league stats would carry over, and it looks like it's just a 1-year thing. You can just see in that quick menu what their stats look like, and that's the only place. After the year's over, they instantly wipe out, and you no longer can see those historical stats, which kind of sucks. It's like MLB The Show, San Diego Studios, did a bunch of stuff and they said, hey, we got these features in franchise. But then they don't fully put them in. I mean, the minor league stats was a big one, and it looks like those get wiped out after, the season. So that pretty much sucks. And I hope they maybe patch that. Maybe they can patch it. I'm pretty sure they can patch it. Hopefully they do that so that the stats do stick. Maybe it's a bug. I'm not sure. But as it is out of the box right now, stats do not stick. So that's going to do it here. I wanted to give my initial impressions of the game. Gameplay wise, I would say, like I said, Legend is a little bit harder. I would say that, there are a more variety of outcomes when the ball comes off the bat, which is pretty cool. And pitching is a little bit the same. I would say it's about the same. I haven't played too many games to really have a good sample size of, how hard pitching is. I usually use classic pitching, and I kind of want ratings to play true. I want little outcome in that department. With hitting, I kind of want a little bit more influence, but that's just me personally. Everybody has their own preferences. But I would say that, Stadium Creator is the biggest feature. It's a lot of fun. You can spend hours upon hours doing stadiums all over and really assigning them to teams. That's the fun part about it, is that when you do it, you can kind of spread it out and make your creative stadiums spread out across the league, and you can visit all of them. And that's kind of the fun in it, customization. So that's going to do it here. I just want to give my initial impressions here at MLB The Show. Tomorrow I should have episode 1 of the Rockies franchise. I'm trying to get it done. There's a lot of work involved in getting that done. If I don't, it'll be Monday for sure. But thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you guys think of MLB the Show 21 after the first couple of days. I like it so far. I wish the minor league stats thing really does bother me. I wish they carried over so you can see your progress of your prospects. That's the one thing that I wish was in this year's game. They put it in, but they didn't complete it, I guess. But let me know what you guys think of this game. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Next time you see me on MLB The Show, it will be with our Rockies franchise. So stay tuned for that. Let's get it. Let's go.